Hi, I'm Cody from Wall Street Breakdown. This is Anthony. He's probably not going to do much talking, but he's going to sit here just to protect us all. So basically the news that came down today, which is shocking, I think, to everybody, because we've been discussing this for what seems like months and months. And we went into this yesterday on the podcast. I think we really thought that the AT&T Time Warner merger, $85 billion, was going to be something that was going to go through. It seemed like it was something that was bound to happen. We've seen the S&P talk about merging the telecom and media sectors next year. They were going to make an announcement in January. They're still going to make this announcement, obviously, as to who's going to be on board with this. I think they were really kind of betting on the fact that AT&T Time Warner were going to get together and have this done. It turns out today, the Department of Justice filed a lawsuit and said there's just far too much antitrust involved. I don't necessarily agree, to be honest with you. And AT&T came out beforehand and kind of made sure that they made a point before the Department of Justice actually had their press conference of saying that they didn't really agree with this. Some of the best legal minds in the country were sure that this was going to go through. Then a little later, after the Department of Justice had made a formal announcement that they were going to put in an antitrust lawsuit and say that this wasn't a merger that they were going to accept going through. This had nothing to do with Donald Trump mentioning anything to them. This had all to do with the customers in the United States potentially having to pay hundreds of millions of dollars more year over year to get the content that AT&T and Time Warner would basically have on lockdown, and all these other companies that would want to bring in that type of content so that they could give it to their customers through their provider. They would have to pay an exorbitant amount of money to get this original content as well. So at around 5:30 Eastern time, AT&T actually had a press conference as well. Randall Stephenson, the CEO, came out and said he just doesn't understand. It's kind of unprecedented for the Department of Justice to get this involved with something, especially when they don't really consider themselves having the type of market share that a lot of people, I think, are considering them to be having. AT&T has about 25 million media customers that are getting TV shows or channels, whatever you want to call it, through AT&T. And Time Warner only has about 1% of the American populace as far as their stuff goes. And Randall Stephenson used that to contrast what other companies have. 100 million people signed up for Netflix, 60 million getting streaming services from Amazon, hundreds of millions, if not more, getting stuff from Google. At what point in time do we realize that this was actually a move upwards for consumers? These two companies merging together were going to give people a lot more options, personally, I thought, and was going to merge some markets together that really needed to be merged together. I think these two companies were well fit for each other, and I find the Department of Justice probably overstepped their bounds a little bit. I imagine in the next few days, we're going to find a lot more of the dominoes falling, and we're going to find out exactly why the Department of Justice, other than just they feel like it was going to cost people more money, cost other companies a lot more. They weren't going to have the leverage to bring in the AT&T and Time Warner brands. They would have to pay a fairly high fee for them. I would imagine we're going to find out a little more about this, but you can imagine that the guys at AT&T and Time Warner at this point in time are not impressed with this. They're wondering what's going on because they were sure this was going to happen. I think the economy was sure this was going to happen. I know the stock market, I hadn't heard a contrarian opinion on this, other than the fact that potentially regulators might make somebody sell off some assets. There might be something just to kind of quell anybody's issues with it, but I didn't think it was going to be completely kibosh at all. I don't think Randall Stephenson thought it either, because if you watch that bit of the news conference that he gave, he seems pretty baffled by the whole thing. They all thought that this was going to be finished. Apparently, it is not going to happen now. There you have it. AT&T Time Warner's merger for $85 billion is off the table. Who'd have thought that going into the Christmas season? We need some mergers, acquisitions. I heard earlier CVS and Aetna's going down for sure. Fingers crossed, because I don't know, SoftBank, Deutsche Telekom, now this. We are not having an outstanding early start to the winter or late fall, whatever you want to call it. It's winter here, trust me, it's winter here. We're not having a great start as far as this merger and acquisition talk goes. I thought this was going to get through. I thought this was going to be a really big deal. I think AT&T and Time Warner felt the same way. Apparently the Department of Justice feels differently, and they're content to block this.
Yeah.
They're content to block this. We don't get AT&T and Time Warner up here, so it's not going to affect us directly,
No.
but it's definitely going to affect some portfolios out there.
Definitely,
Yeah, so it is what it is. I'm Cody from Wall Street Breakdown. This is Anthony from Wall Street Breakdown. If you haven't already, subscribe button, notification bell, thumbs up for this video, thumbs up for all videos, thumbs up for you guys, thumbs up for the Department of Justice putting their foot down, I guess, where they think they need to be doing it. maybe they are protecting the customers more than I'm thinking about it. Maybe I'm thinking about it from more of a business standpoint, and they're thinking about it a lot more from a fairness standpoint. That might definitely be the case. We'll have to let the chips fall where they may, and all this will probably play out in the news over the next couple of days. If you haven't already, leave us a comment. We love hearing from you. We want to know what you think about this. This is huge news. This definitely affects your portfolio. This is going to touch on a lot of different stocks and a lot of different sectors. It's going to bump some up. It's going to knock some down, but I can guarantee you as this news starts to filter out tonight, tomorrow morning, you are going to notice that this is going to make probably a pretty significant change in the marketplace. There's going to be what I would consider to be somewhat negative overtones probably going forward. So it is what it is. Leave us a comment. We love hearing from you guys. We're Wall Street Breakdown. We're a team. Look at this. We never do it this way, do we?
Never.
Yeah, never do it this way.
No.
Anyways, you guys have yourselves an outstanding day.